Hello and welcome to Dan Talks United. Yes, it's Newcastle versus Manchester United. St James's Park. 8:15 kickoff. Another late one. Midweek game. Can we keep that winning run going? I'm not so sure. It always feels like we struggle in the midweek games, especially when we've just played on the weekend. But we're just going to go through today. What we're going to go through today is recap on the Palace game, a bit about Carrick's press conference. We're also just going to do a little bit of what I call the insights, a bit of stats, a bit of interesting facts about what's been going on. Also, we're going to get into sort of predicted lineups and how we've played in the last 5 games, both Newcastle and ourselves. And then, finally, to wrap things up, we're going to do the big one, which is the score prediction. So think about that. Obviously, this is a pre-record, but please put in your score predictions in the comments. Do you think we're going to win? Do you think we're going to lose? Do you think we're going to draw? But please put your score predictions in. So, to begin with, we're just going to have a bit of a recap on that Palace game. So let's get into it. So, there's not a lot to say about that Palace game. Yes, we won 2-1. Yes, that's fantastic. Yes, that puts us into third, which is really important. And hopefully we've grabbed all the third, and I always kept saying that we're going to chase Villa down and we're going to get that third spot. Can we hold on to it? We've still got a few games to play. Is it 10 games left to play? Can we hold on to third? That's going to be interesting. But for now, we've got third with the goal difference, but we need to cement that spot now. So anyway, really quickly in that first half, wasn't the best. We carved open a few chances towards the end of that first half, but we've gone down quite early on after 4 minutes with that header from LaCroix. Yoro made a couple of mistakes, had a massive debate about this on David Speaks Football's channel. I still think there's a player in there, but I can't excuse his mistakes there. Obviously, it cost quite a bit of money for us. Is promising, you could say. Those sort of early comparisons to people like Rio, too quickly, too early for stuff like that. But hopefully, if we can build some confidence, and in a year or two, I think Yoro could be a really good centre-back. But let's see anyway. So, obviously, in that second half, that's when things sort of changed. We got that penalty, bit of a controversial one. Obviously, LaCroix sort of holds on to Cunha. I just feel that it started outside the box. It did seem to continue, but maybe just on the line of that box there. Obviously, Cunha has made the most of it, which you expect, because if you don't get the penalty. And there's plenty of times where players have been honest, they've stayed on the feet, and they don't get the foul. So, he's played, he's got it. Referee's gone to the monitor and you name it, VAR's been involved. It's remained a penalty. I think the only real issue that they had is whether it was going to be a red card. And obviously, because he didn't play the ball, there was no attempt to play the ball. He was just grabbing hold of the man, preventing an obvious goal-scoring position as well. He gets the red card. That changes the game. Bruno steps up at the spot. Captain Marvel sends Henderson the wrong way. That's 1-1. Then after that, Captain Marvel steps up again with a lovely cross from deep. And then Sesko gets his head on it, puts it in the back of the net, and it's 2-1. Close game. You could say that Palace might feel like they're hard done by, but we've got the points on the board and we leap into third, and that's the main thing for me. Anyway, enough about Palace. That was before. That's in the past. It's on to Newcastle now. But let's, before we get on to all of that, have a quick chat about Carrick's press conference. Not a lot said in there, to be honest with you. Obviously, I had questions around Shaw and Maguire, both who seemed to go off injured. But what he's saying is that they were feeling a little bit ill, under the weather. Very strange, because it looked like Shaw was on the floor clutching his leg, and it looked like he was off injured, but just didn't fancy it. Felt a little bit unwell. Fair enough. So we'll see if they are ready for the game against Newcastle. We'll see if they get added to the squad. You would have thought they would do, but let's see. So other than that, journos, you know what the journos are like. arseholes at times, stupid questions at times. I think he got a few questions around where did he think he was going to sort of finish in the league when he took the job, or did he feel that he was going to be in the position he's in now in terms of being third right now? I mean, how the hell is he going to know that? And how is he even going to answer that and say yes to that? You're not going to say that, are you? I mean, you take the job, you're excited about the job, you're an ex-pro, you're an ex-Manchester United player, you've done a little bit of interim work there before, prior, but your job's to come in and try and cement a European position. You're not thinking, actually, I'm going to get 4 wins in a row, and then I'm going to draw the 5th game, and then the next game I'm going to win again, and then hopefully I'm going to get... So it doesn't make any sense. It's just a stupid question, but as always, in that press room, you just get one idiot after the other just asking the same question. Other than that, sort of being asked on that sort of British solidarity, what do you think about Eddie Howe? And obviously, again, you're not going to get an answer like, I think Eddie Howe's a bit shit, actually, and I think he should have done better with all the money that they've got at Newcastle. He's not going to say that, is he? So whether he thought that or not, which I believe he doesn't think that, he's never going to say that. So what he said is that he respects Eddie Howe, he respects his coaching staff, he thinks he's done a good job so far at Newcastle, and it's going to be a tough match. What else do you expect him to say? So that was pretty much it, really, for the questions. Nothing much else to really report on. Don't think we really got an update on the other injured players, such as De Ligt, such as Mount, such as Dorgu. We're expecting probably Martinez to be the one that comes back first, and then after that possibly Mount. So we'll see if Martinez gets on the bench maybe, or definitely in the squad anyway, against Newcastle. So what I'm calling a bit of a United insight. Let's have a quick look at this then. So, as you can see there on screen, we've got our man Bruno there, and he's got 13 Premier League assists this season, or in 2026, this season, sorry. And it's the first to get to that margin since Antonio Valencia. So, obviously, Valencia, really good player. Obviously, we want him to surpass that, and hopefully he can start to reach that De Bruyne and Henry record. So I do want him to get much more than what he's got now, but we will see. There's 10 games left. Who knows? On to the next one then. We've got Sesko's in the picture, but this is about we have recovered 9 points from losing positions in the Premier League in 2026. And this man in the picture will have a lot to do with it. And I'm sure he's responsible for at least 7 of them. So when he's come on as a sub and he's rescued a point, or he's rescued 3 points, it's been good so far when he's been on this run of goals. So we can only hand it to Sesko on that one. Next one then is we're unbeaten, which is quite surprising actually. We're unbeaten in our last 8 games, kicking off at 8 p.m. or later since that loss against Everton. So I'm quite surprised about that, and that's back in November, that loss. However, it does feel like sometimes we don't play as well sort of midweek, especially when we've just played on the weekend. But obviously, we'll see. That's a good bit of omen there, but we'll see how that comes to fruition. And then lastly, before we get into predicted lineups and what we've done in the last sort of 5 games and stuff like that, just a little bit of fun on this last slide. And this is this man. I'm really sorry, it's not a Manchester United guy. It's the Arsenal set-piece coach. And it's very interesting that this guy gets a bonus. He gets a goal bonus if they score from dead balls. What is going on? I mean, has this always been a thing? I mean, for me, the last time I heard anybody gets a bonus for scoring a goal is a striker. But anyway, looks like set-piece coaches are getting it as well now. No wonder he's so happy. But it seems to be the way now where people are getting a set-piece coach that can make a difference, and it's surely been seen with Arsenal and their corners anyway. Don't want to come across like a hater or salty, but obviously just having a bit of fun with this one, but I just found that quite interesting. And it's from a credible source, a credible news outlet, The Athletic, that's reporting this. So that's very interesting. So, as I said before, let's get into how we've done in the last 5 games, both Newcastle and ourselves, predicted lineups for both our teams, and then we get on to the big one, which is the score prediction. Let's have a look then at the last 5 games for both sides. So, on the left-hand side there, we have Newcastle, and then on the right-hand side is ourselves. So we start on the left anyway. So Newcastle beat Aston Villa 3-1. Then they beat Karabag 6-1 in Europe. Then they lost against City 2-1. They beat Karabag again. And then they lost against Everton. And that's interesting that they lost against Everton at home. Obviously doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean because we've beat Everton that we can then go to Newcastle and beat Newcastle. Football doesn't work like that. But it's just very interesting that they've lost at home to Everton. On our side there, we've beat Fulham. Then we beat Spurs. We drew against West Ham. We beat Everton. And then we've just recently beat Crystal Palace. So we'll just go on to really quickly, we'll just have a look at their injuries because we've talked about ours already. So really quickly, we've got Lewis Miley there, decent player, decent youth player there. It looks like he's out till April, if this is to be correct. Didn't know Gimenez was injured, so that's interesting and will be a big miss for Newcastle if that's correct. And he's out till April as well. Livramento, really good player. Again, big miss, I'd say. Fabian Schär, and then I'm not sure who that person is at the top there. So let's get on to the predicted lineups then. So we'll start off with Newcastle on the left-hand side. So in goals is Nick Pope. I expect that to be the case. In the centre-back area there, you've got Botman and you've got Chow. Right back, you've got Trippier, is he there, captain. And then Lewis Hall, which I wouldn't mind at Manchester United, to be honest, to replace Shaw. I think that would be a good replacement. Not saying it's the only one to go for, but it could be a good replacement, that, if we could get him. In the midfield area there, then you've got Joe Linton, so that converted striker into midfield, who's actually done very well in midfield since he converted. Tonali, we know about Tonali. And then we've got Ramsey there as well. So, across the front three there, obviously it's showing here that there isn't a striker there, so you've got Gordon in the middle, who is a winger for me. You've got Barnes, and then you've got Murphy. Now, I don't know where Voltamida is, but okay, I assume is not injured, but we'll see. On the right-hand side then, which is us, Lamon's in nets. Can't argue with that. Centre-back pairing looks to be the pairing that ended that last game at Crystal Palace. So I would expect Maguire to come back in, and then it's going to be one of Yoro or Heaven. Bit of a muchness for me. Had this debate, as I was saying. I don't mind which one came in, to be honest, but Maguire's been playing on the left-hand side and Yoro's been playing on the right. I just want Martinez back, so then it just takes that debate away anyway. Mazraoui, I think I'd be putting him at left back if Shaw is not returning, and then I'd put Dalot at right back. In the middle then, you've got Maino and Casemiro. I'd expect that. Haven't particularly played overly well in the last sort of couple of games or so. I want to see him a bit closer together for me, or playing more of a double pivot. Casemiro's doing a lot of box crashing. I believe that'll be on purpose, but in regards to sort of safeguard that central area and stop balls being played through the middle, and also that bit of protection to our defensive line, I'd like to see Casemiro and Maino play a little bit closer together in this one. So up front is where there might be a bit of debate. I'd probably go with what's on the screen, to be honest with you. Cunha on the left, drifting in. And Burma over there on the right-hand side. Bruno as the number 10, and then Sesko up top. I'd probably go with that. Obviously, there's an argument with this game because it's, I think, what we have done, especially with teams that generally might have more of the ball or come at us a little bit. We've probably gone with more of a false 9 with Mbermo sort of up top, and then you might bring Ahmad back in to play on the right-hand side. But to be honest, I'd probably go with what we see there, to be honest. But again, let me know what you guys think. Put your comments in. Who do you think should start? Probably a debate point's going to be, does Sesko start or not, just to make things nice and easy. But put your comments in and we can sort of go through that. So that's pretty much it there when it comes to the predicted sort of lineups. So that just leaves us to do the big one, which is the score prediction. So just before I get into that, though, there's a few things to sort of consider. I've had a bit of a feeling. I've already sort of made a prediction before this video. I'm sort of thinking about how they've been playing recently. I'm thinking about Newcastle being a bit of a tricky team. I've sort of said that Newcastle in these next round of games since that draw against West Ham could be the banana skin to stop us getting that 5 in a row. But I've also said if we can get past this banana skin and get a win, that I think would then get the 5 in a row. So it's going to be interesting, this one. So also another stat just to think about is that we haven't won at St James's Park since 2020. So that's coming up to 6 years. It's a long time, or it feels a long time. So it's one of those where it doesn't mean that you can't win there just because you haven't won there in 6 years, but sometimes those records sort of get bigger and bigger. So all things considered, I'm going with a draw, and I'm going with 2-2. Yes, I'm going with a Desmond 2-2. So put your comments in below. Tell me what you think the score's going to be. Tell me if we're going to win, lose or draw. Be really interesting to see that. But that's what I'm going with, and I'm going with 2-2. It's going to be an interesting game. I think it'll be quite a tough game. I do feel that Newcastle will probably have the most possession, which could play in our favour because we can hit them on the break, and I think that's what our strengths are. So this game is one of those where it can go either way. We could lose, we could draw, or we could really win really well. You just don't know. But I am going to go with a draw for now. Let's see. Hope that I'm going to be wrong. But as always, thank you for watching Dan Talks United. Please like, please share, and I will see you on the next one live after the Newcastle game. See you later, people.